Hello everyone, it's Mark from This Is The Music and welcome along to another This Is The Music Meets Podcast, the podcast where I dive deep into the emerging bands and artists that are shaping the UK indie scene. Before we get started, hit the like button, subscribe and leave a comment. It will really help the podcast grow, but more importantly, help the bands and artists that I chat to be discovered. This week's guests are one of the most fast emerging artists from the northwest of England. They've released 2 singles, which already have gone down a storm. They've seen support from BBC Six Music and Jim Salverson and many, many more. Plus, they are earning rave reviews for their live sets. It's time to introduce Alfie and Elijah from Movin On. Fellas, thanks for coming on the This Is The Music Meets podcast. How you both doing?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Great. I am great to have you both here, and I understand that you're in sort of a little acoustic practice room. Is that right?
Moving on HQ.
Yeah.
The new name has been christened.
I don't think it's quite the plan my mum had for it when it was built in COVID, but needs must and all that. So little bit of fridge in the corner as well.
Nice. Well, needs must, and I'm sure the neighbours are enjoying listening to the jangle of your guitar sound as well.
Certainly, we've had no complaints so far, which is good. So must be doing something right.
Definitely happy days. As I say, it's episode 178 of the This Is The Music Meets podcast. There's lots to go through about moving on, but let's really start at the very beginning, really, because the band sort of formed at the back end of 2025, and for those that don't know, was a solo artist, released a number of excellent singles. So yeah, could you just sort of pick up the story from there and just give the listeners, a little bit of a background story to how it all started?
Yeah, of course. So we've almost got to go back to 2022 for the origins of Moving On. So I was in a band in Liverpool with our drummer Scott, and I left that band to go to university in Manchester. Always stayed in touch with Scott as a really good friend, and then during the time where I was writing a lot at university, this batch of work that we've got out now will be released in the future. You needed a band behind it, so I said to myself in about February of 2025, let's get uni out of the way, let's get this degree finished, and let's set up a band. So I rang Scott and said, when I'm back from uni, let's start a band. And then we did have another guitarist who left the band for a couple of different reasons, which we won't delve into. We added George, our bass player. So I know George through mutual friends who I met whilst interrailing around Europe in 2023. So I just reached out to him on Instagram and was like, do you fancy being in the band? And we played this gig in Liverpool as a 3-piece, and we knew something was missing. And me and George were driving back one day from rehearsal, just trying to think, right, who do we know who can actually play guitar? And he went, oh, I know this lad called Alfie Powell. And the surname rang a bell because I met Alfie's sister in Amsterdam and we were talking about music. But, Amsterdam, it comes with the territory. There's some great chocolate brownies out there. I remember his sister saying, oh, my brother's really good at guitar. And I was like, oh, I'll have to speak to him when I get back. And then pretty much like 2 years and even more passed before I even reached out to Alfie. I was just like, yeah, do you fancy being in a band? And then we've not really looked back since, to be fair. We recorded absolutely our debut in late October of last year. And we brought Alfie in on like a week's notice. And I was like, here's the song. Come round to my house in the next few days and we can go through it. And we were about 2 songs into the set, and I was just thinking, like, I do not let this man leave my front room without him being in the band.
You will stay.
Yeah. And yeah, that's been Moving On, and we played a couple of gigs under Elijah Jenkins just at the end of 2025, and then moving into this year, we wanted to go with something that reflected a lot of the songs, and that's how we came up with Moving On.
Yeah, sure. And obviously you've moved sort of pretty quickly there from sort of forming to releasing music and also building a reputation for, your energetic live shows. Um, Alfie, I'll come to you on this one. Did you expect things to move as quickly as what they have done when you joined the band?
No, because this is like my first experience and you know time with an originals band. I play in another band. We do like 60s type covers, but that's all covers, so it's a completely different dynamic. And to come into a new originals band where everything's all from scratch, it's all new ideas. That it was a big shock, and I didn't know that things can move this quickly. And I still remember it now. I was trying to blag my manager in work, trying to get this day off so we could go to the studio to record Absolutely. And I remember messaging Elijah, and he was just so happy I managed to get it. But yeah, to be honest, I didn't think it would all move this quickly. But I think it's a testament to all of us, like how we and how committed we are, like what we're doing with live shows and practicing and rehearsing and releasing. It's we're all just mad for it, So it's the best way to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. As someone very famously used to say on the back of that poster behind you as well there. But apart from Elijah locking you into his front room so that you didn't leave, to make sure that you stayed in the band.
Oh, by the
way. Has there been like any other moment when either of you realised that, do you know what, actually, as a band, we're on to something here? I know it's only been 2 singles and sort of 7-8 months of whatever, rehearsing and all of that, but has there been a moment where you thought, yeah, do you know what, we've got something here?
Yeah, it was listening to the desk mix of Absolutely after we finished recording it in the studio. We had it on the coming out the desk on the proper speakers, and after a day's work of recording it, and literally we'd not even been a band during that recording session for like a week, and that was the debut, and we were like, yeah, we all came away from that thinking that there really is something here. That was my moment. Elijah may have a different one, but
yeah, certainly stands out because it's been a very different dynamic. Like, I performed Absolutely acoustically a couple of times, and I was like, yeah, it's a good song. And then when it became the 4-piece, I was a bit like, yeah, we really have got something here. And then I think another one for me as well was when we sold out the Jacaranda for our debut gig with like a month to go. That's when I sort of knew we were onto something there as well, because the support from like the release announcement and then the early, like even the first few days of Absolutely, the support was phenomenal. Like, I knew we were onto something there. And then I think, even as you touched on as well, Mark, I remember driving home, getting an email from the BBC. I was a bit like, well, what on earth do these want? And then it was like, you've just been played on a Radio 6 by Steve Mac. I burst in the front door. I was like, you're never going to guess this. And yeah, there have been like a few highlight moments for me. But yeah, long may they continue as well. Like, we're only just getting started.
Yeah, definitely agree with that there about, long may all that sort of, success and, recognition as well by the mainstream continue. But let's go on to the debut single, obviously, Absolutely. Obviously, Elijah, you mentioned there that you've been playing it acoustically at a few live sets and stuff like that. So when did that song sort of first come together? And I guess as well, why was that song sort of, I guess like the first release, but sort of introduced initially to the rest of the band to sort of go, let's work on this one first?
So started writing Absolutely between my second and third year at uni, and me and the lads used to get together, and a few of us were in quite tricky relationships where probably our other halves thought they were a bit superior than they were, hence why the Hollywood movie tag comes along, and then in the pre-chorus, it's As I Sit Down in Our Favourite Bar. So we always used to go to Mulligan's in Manchester. I'm sure anyone who's been to Manchester will have been, and if you haven't, then definitely go, because it's a cracking bar. But yeah, that's how it came about, and it was one of them where it just sort of fell into place in 20 minutes, and I recorded it just through my phone, and I knew it was good, and I knew I wanted to play it and didn't want to sit on it for too long, but I also knew it had more gears to it as well. And even when I was playing it acoustically, I'd try and like figure out what like a drumming part would be just by like tapping on my desk at uni and stuff like that. So it was always plans to, and I just thought it really reflected the energy that we want to bring as a band to make it the debut single.
Yeah, and there is a real sort of confidence to the song, and obviously it sounds sort of maybe a little bit personal in places as well. But what would you want, what was you hoping for maybe that people listening to it would have taken from the song?
Yes.
I just always want people to enjoy the music, Mark. People will take what they want from music. They can reflect it to their own things in their own life, and if people can do that with our tunes and relate it to them, then that's fantastic.
And hum a little guitar riff at the same time.
Exactly.
We've done our job,
Well, so, funny enough, Alf, you're talking about guitar riffs, because I believe there is a particular sort of standout story from around about the single with Absolutely. I believe you had a chance meeting with JohnnyMarr.
Yeah.
Just tell us what happened and what he said.
Yeah, I've got a bonus story as well. Not unrelated from when I met JohnnyMarr, but it's also to do with another guitarist and quite a well-known band. But I'll tell you that after this one. But yeah, it was just by pure chance. Like I took my because I have a signature JohnnyMarr Jaguar that he did with Fender. Funny enough, I wrote the riff for Absolutely on that guitar, which makes it even more special.
Yeah.
But so I took it into our local guitar shop just to get just a little setup, a little service, get it sorted, and it was just purely by chance. It was as if the stars had aligned that well that it was like, yeah, you're in the room with your hero now. So, and I still remember I was sat on the stool because Sam, who owns the guitar shop, he has like a little area where you can test out guitars. And I remember sitting there just plinking around with it, just telling him what I needed doing on it, and then all of a sudden I turned around and and the man who wrote This Charming Man is standing right next to me. So I was like, oh my God. Yeah, and again, it's just a huge testament to JohnnyMarr as a person. Him even just like I would have thought I'd have just been able to have a quick picture with him, drop my guitar off, and then go home. But he listened to me. He even asked me questions, asked me what amp I use. I probably had a good 30 to 40 minute conversation with him, and he was the most down to earth, just an absolute gentleman. It was an example of where you should meet your heroes. It was one of them. And I played I had a very little jam with him. He picked up a guitar off the wall and we just played a few chords and whatever. And I showed him the riff to Absolutely, in which he did approve. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, that was I'll never ever forget that. Never forget it. And he in fact has signed my JohnnyMarr guitar. So now it sits in a padded case at the bottom of all my guitar cases in my room, likely never to see the light of day again. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look at something. Yeah, but yeah, that's the story of that. It's yeah.
I think a funny thing to add on from that as well is Alfie rang me the morning it happened. So before he'd messaged me, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the guitar shop later. Do you want to come?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sounds good. I'm just gonna go to the gym." And then I get out the gym to about 10 missed phone calls from Alfie, and he's like, "You're never gonna guess what I've just been in the guitar shop." I was like, "I thought we were going at 2." It was like, "I had to go early. I've just met JohnnyMarr." And I was like, I was so happy for Alfie, but I was like, why was I in the gym? I actually don't think I've been to the gym since it happened. Like, full disclosure. But yeah, it was mental. And
yeah, it's I still can't believe it happened even after now. And then this little bonus story is I've ended up buying another Fender Jaguar off Joff Oddy from Wolf Alice.
Wow.
Yeah, it used to be his backup for his main white one that he's used for years and years and years. And I believe it went on one. He used it all the way. It was their backup through 2016, so it's been all around the world. And I bought it straight off of him. So two encounters with two guitarists this year, and it's yeah, that's just another little bonus story I thought I'd throw in there. But,
Yeah. No, but I mean, you'd have to tap them both up, see if you can, get moving on one of the shows that they're going to be playing. Both one of them, surely.
yeah, it's might see if I can give him another message on Reverb and then pull a few strings. But yeah, but that's my new live one now, the Sunburst one. So it's already got a bit of a. It's from Wolf Alice to Moving On now, that guitar. So it's got a bit of a story.
Yeah, definitely. When we mentioned briefly there, like Steve Lamacq, and obviously, just telling the story there as well about JohnnyMarr in sort of particular, giving sort of like encouragement or sort of like endorsement, like for the tunes that you've done. Well, absolutely, specifically in this case, what does that do for you as a band in terms of like the confidence, like going forward and and stuff like that in terms of what you're trying to achieve?
It gives you a confidence in terms of, I mean, in my opinion, I don't do music and things for the sake of other people. I do it because I love it. But it's when you have that as an extra confidence booster and something that, oh, actually, not just a person who likes music, but a person who has heard and played thousands and thousands of songs and has been involved with it for all their lives. It's like it does give you a further reassurance that like what you're doing it's good. And I jokingly said this to my dad after I'd met Johnny, like after I played him that riff, and he said, oh, it's really good. That it's like I've completed music. I can hang my guitars on the wall and never play again now. That for me is, I'm done.
I've had something to say if you were like, oh, I'd have been like, right, let's not get. Yeah, you've met JohnnyMarr, but even though it's approved, let's
keep it going.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Definitely. And moving on, sorry, pardon the pun there, with obviously the second single that came out sort of about 3 or 4 weeks ago, roughly. It's called How We Used To. How then does this track differ from Absolutely? And obviously the title sounds maybe a little bit reflective in some ways. What's the sort of story behind that?
Yeah, it's a bit more reflective than Absolutely. I think even from feedback we've had, people like it. Shows real diversity in the band. It's a bit different. It's not all the same. In terms of How We Used To, it's all about that nostalgia of looking back on the really, really good times and almost thinking if we play Pretend, it's going to be all right. But it all has one outcome either way. You look at it, but even when you think of the bad times, the good times do always creep back in, and you are always a bit like, oh, if we play Pretend, it'll be all right. If we just sit down and have a conversation, it can go forward and move on how it used to be, and without any like puns thrown in there and stuff like that. But that and Absolutely were wrote pretty close together, to be fair, during the time of between second and third year uni, which was between the summer of 2024, it would have been. Yeah. Been through quite a few things at uni that year, so it was just one of them. I think I've mentioned it before, like people keep journals and stuff, but I get a pen and paper out and a guitar and just...
It's expression, isn't it? It's
yeah.
And I think it's kind of similar as well, like with the riff I've done for that one, because with Absolutely, it's there's a lot of jangle. It's quite a driving riff. With this one, I thought, because I wrote it while we were in a rehearsal, and I looked at our lives and I just played the more, the barred versions of the chords for each of it, and then the melody just kind of came. Although it's quite a I would say I love the riff, but it complements the vocal quite a lot more. It's in the background, it's just flowing, and I think that just adds another depth to the song, as well as Elijah's vocals and Scott's drums and George's bass. I think it's quite a mature sound, but not trying to be too mature. But yeah, we're really happy with it.
Yeah, certainly. I think as well, what's key to note with both the songs and things that we'll be having out in the future, as well as like we go into the studio with them polished, but like what we go into the studio and what we come out with can be quite different as well. We've worked with Sugar House now since we've been a band.
We're getting a lot of good input, aren't we?
AD and Lee, who are fantastic producers, have done work with the Lilacs, Corella as well. So they're encyclopedic, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, because when you go into studio with songs, as Elijah said there, when they're polished and like, we've got them to a point where we feel they're as good as they can be. Just having that professional input where their ears have heard, thousands of original songs, and there's just, even whether it be a slight pointer, it massive. Like we were literally talking about this before, but it helps writing processes because you can then visualize, their input when you take it into the studio. Yeah, they're just great. Just having that extra input and that extra opinion really just like, I think it's helped the songs for the better, which we feel very good, and it's just took them to an even better level now.
Yeah, definitely. And sort of moving away then from the releases and obviously your work in the studio, talk a little bit about live music, because from what I've seen online, from the couple of shows, certainly the couple of shows that I'm aware of that you've played anyway. Obviously, you've been Jacaranda, obviously that you just mentioned previously, and obviously you was down in London as well. About last month I think. Obviously, yeah, you've obviously been getting a lot of praise from those shows, from what I've seen. So, what is it that you think that, I guess it's quite difficult, maybe really to big yourselves up in this way, but why do you think that you've been getting like that praise? Because of, obviously still a new band and not many people have come across you yet.
I think it's we go on stage with just the intention and at the forefront of our minds of just the love of playing live music and the love of playing our own music to whether it be new people or people we know. Like the thought that we can make people dance, sing, smile. That is the main motivator for me when it comes to live music, and hopefully, obviously the band shares the same thing. But live, it's just, I don't know. I just think, especially with us still being so new, like we're still obviously live sound is a constantly evolving thing, and tightness always that comes with time as well. But I just think we just have I don't know, we just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just that like willingness to get on stage and have fun, but always keep going as well. Like considering we've not even been a band a year, and we've managed to get a show in London, which is like 200 miles away from here. So, which was great. And it's just that constant as well, like, keep trying to open as many doors as possible for yourself. Just, keep connecting with people and just, see where it takes you. Just keep writing, keep going, but also just have fun with it as well.
And not take it too seriously, like, because there's, times like in the recent gigs where I've messed up a few notes in a solo, and I just turn around to Scott or I'll look over to Elijah or George and I'll just start laughing, because the second you start taking things like that too seriously, you take the fun out of it. And that's what live music is, just about having fun. And hopefully the people coming to the shows and who have been to the shows, hopefully they have felt a sense of enjoyment from it. It's one of the main motivators why we keep doing it. So
yeah, 100%.
Definitely, and I agree. If you're not having fun doing it, then probably what is the point in some aspects of doing it, really. But we're recording this show on a Wednesday, and you've got a pretty big gig coming up this Saturday. You're going to be at Telford's Warehouse. headline show. I think it's the first one of the year, I believe I'm right in saying. How big of a moment does that feel for you?
It's huge because the band is 75% from Chester. We've been to, like, I know we've not been together long, but you would have thought, oh, the first gig will be in Chester. But we were like, no, we'll just headline the Jacaranda. We'll play Manchester. We'll even go and play in London, and then we'll organise a Chester one. So I'm seeing it as a bit of a homecoming, to be fair, in terms of like a lot of people who haven't seen us are gonna see us as well. So it's a good occasion for the band, certainly. And even when I'm in work and like we were practicing last night and stuff, I was even getting giddy then. So I've just had to rein it in a little bit to keep my energy for Saturday. But yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be a cracker for sure.
And what can gig goers, fans, sort of expect from your set? Are there any surprises planned?
I've got a few surprises.
A couple of things up our sleeve.
Yeah. And we spoke, like at our last rehearsal last night. We took some time to go over the set list and the order, and hopefully we've got what we've done and what we've slightly changed and adjusted on it. Like hopefully now we've got a set that people are gonna enjoy, and hopefully we'll keep them enticed. Because it's an important thing how you build a set list. I think it's quite an underrated and under overlooked aspect of live music. Yeah, we took some time last night to do some refining of it, and as we said, adding a few surprises, and hopefully it's going to be people are going to come away from the gig saying, "Oh, I had a good night watching them." So
yeah, definitely, and hopefully they'll come to the next headline, because obviously you're going to be playing on 12th of September at Manchester's Off the Square. Sort of more in general, really, but with the headline slots that you've had, do you see them as sort of like milestone moments for moving on as you're going forward?
Yeah, it certainly is, and we've been, very, very. I don't want to say the word lucky, because we've worked hard to get in the position we have, and we've built really good relationships where we've gone to allow us to have them opportunities. But there's certainly landmark moments, and to have them so soon as a band is just fantastic. To if I think for our debut gig at the Jacaranda to sell out, and then Telford's is nearly sold out as well, and then the Off the Square tickets are going well with a couple of months to go. It shows that we're all moving in the right direction, and of course they're landmark moments. So it's what everyone wants to do. I picked up a guitar because I do love music, but there's always that inner desire to think, yeah, I want to play in front of loads of people and play some really cool venues along the way as well.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the Off the Square is really a sort of iconic and prestigious grassroots venue up in Manchester. Does it kind of like as well maybe feel like a bit of a rite of passage playing a venue like that, and sort of, I guess, what, like a bucket list sort of type of thing, right? We need to play there, and then maybe eventually moving on to sort of like Manchester Free and stuff like that, or International Free, whatever it's called.
yeah, I think it's, as Elijah said, we've worked to get to where we're at to now with where we're playing and where we have played, and it's like, yeah, it's all about not necessarily ticking off venues, but it's getting into places and getting the experience in grassroots places, and it's like this is your bread and butter. This is where it all comes from, and just playing as much live music as we can, and that's just a bonus, being able to play in places like that, because you look at the other, some of the other people who've been on those stages and where they've gone on to go, and it's just all about that. It just adds to the magic of it. That's how I've always seen it. And yeah, just nice to be playing cool venues, especially in big cities. It's just a cool experience, the whole thing.
Yeah, when we were in London, it was the weekend of that heat wave as well. So it was quite funny. We were lugging around all the gear in like 33 degrees, but we were all just so giddy to be playing London. I think we forgot, and then on the Sunday when we had to lug it all back to Euston, that was probably the hardest part of the weekend. And then we were playing in Liverpool on the Monday at the Noisy Weekender Festival, which was even hotter. I don't know how I didn't melt on stage, to be honest. Yeah, I was the only one in jeans.
I still can't believe that.
Like 33 degrees, and I had a pair of Carhartt.
You styled it out though.
Yeah.
Styled that heat out, because you come out after that set and you were like, nah, not phased, mate.
I mean, to be fair, that obviously sounds pretty mental to be doing that. But there's a friend of mine who's in a band, Dave from Piola, and every gig that I've ever seen them go and play, he always wears a parka. And I think I didn't actually go to this particular gig, but the weekend that you're referring to, he actually did turn up on stage with a parka. So I don't know how he survived, to be honest. There you go. Hey, obviously for bands, obviously you do need social media to sort of promote yourselves and get yourselves out there, and it does feel sort of unavoidable in many aspects. For you as a band, how have you found trying to navigate your way through it? Because it's obviously difficult. You've all got jobs. Then you're trying to write and record songs, rehearse, and then you've then got to do the content, and all that. So how's your relationship been with it?
So I think it's been one of them. It's been like it's peaks and troughs, isn't it? Like, we've got into that mindset now where we're just bulk recording content to just make sure we have a couple of weeks content. We'll just do a couple of hours each week, whether it's a little acoustic session outside or like photo sessions with the photographers that we work with. So
yeah. Social media is a strange one. I would say personally, I have a bit of a strange relationship with social media, because especially nowadays, it seems like everyone has to one up each other with what they're doing. It's like, wow, if we're not doing that, then it goes back to the whole comparison is the thief of joy. And like, say you compare yourself to other artists or what other people are doing on their social media, you'll always find a way to find something wrong with what you're doing, and you've got to be careful. And we are like, we don't let it get to us too much, because it shouldn't get to you. But say like a video or something doesn't get as many views as expected, or a post doesn't get as many views or whatever, it's one of them. You've just got to take it as if as long as we're putting stuff out there and we're using it as a platform to to show our music and show what we're about, then people want to see it, then they can. But it's very easy to get wrapped up in like, let social media rule everything, and it really should not be that way. But it's kind of unavoidable, unfortunately, as an artist and an unsigned artist. Your social media it's incredibly important. So yeah, although with it, even if there's a strange relationship with it, it's still got to be one where you've got to bite your tongue and go, yeah, time's going in.
Definitely. And do you enjoy making that content, or would you just much rather be making music, whether or not that's recording or writing, rehearsing and playing gigs? Or as you sort of said there, Alfie, it's sort of a bit of a necessary evil.
It's not necessarily like the content itself, because like we did some great videos in here last week, and we had so much fun doing it. And even if they're just videos to save and look back on and not even touch social media, like that side of it is incredibly fun. We have a great time doing that. It's it's just the only downside of it is you then, once you post that on social media, you're at the mercy of the Instagram algorithm, and then that's gonna do what it wants with your video. So, but no, content and doing it itself is it's a lot of fun. We do enjoy it.
Yeah, we had a right laugh doing the content in Hyde Park.
Oh, that was fun.
London, when it was that heat wave. We sat up, I don't know what we looked like, but we're lugging around massive guitars. Poor Scott's got half a bloody drum kit on his back. Just walking around Hyde Park trying to find this perfect filming spot. You got people walking past looking at us like we've just come from Mars or something.
Literally like we just landed on Earth after a stay on Earth.
But no, I personally enjoy like filming the content. It's just, as you said, when you're at the mercy of the algorithm and you don't see something do well, you're a bit like,
Yeah.
but then I'm just like, never mind. A few more people can see another video tomorrow because you just got to keep churning it out, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely, and I have to agree with what you were just saying there, Elijah, about the Hyde Park that video. That did look very funny. To be fair, watching it didn't look all giddy as well. Great stuff there. To be fair, and it does have to be done, as no matter how much you might hate having to do it. But just sort of moving away from music, because I believe that you are both Liverpool fans. I think it's fair to say it was a bit of an inconsistent season for you, obviously after winning the league, well, 2 seasons ago now, but obviously last season you came fifth. It's a little bit of a sort of unknown time, I suppose, at the moment. For obviously, Slot's been sacked, Salah's left. From your perspective as a supporter, just sum up the season.
Crap.
Yeah. It's very sad, very sad, and a good reason to have music as a distraction, because it's been like every week. Oh, how many are we gonna lose by this week? It's been very draining. So glad it's come to an end.
And obviously you've appointed, I'm probably going to mispronounce his name, so I do apologise there. Iralia, I think from Bournemouth. I hope that's roughly right. Obviously managed Bournemouth last year. Are you happy with him coming in?
Yes, yeah, I've got a good feeling about it. You're happy as well.
I am happy. However, I would have like sold my soul to see Luis Enrique as Liverpool manager. That just seems like a match made in heaven. And I think my concern is we've seen like a lot of managers do really well at smaller clubs. No disrespect to Bournemouth, obviously, and then them do terrible when they've gone to like, clubs like Graham Potter's a prime example. Like did so well at Brighton, awful at Chelsea, and then even worse at West Ham.
Yeah, which is something.
I think like Liverpool now have got to put themselves into such a strange position, because how do you actually even we have Jurgen Klopp for such a long time, and then it's always going to be a downgrade no matter who it is, no matter how much respect you give anyone. You're never going to replace or get anyone like him again. So we've just got to take it as we'll just see how well he does. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, seeing how he works with some players, but there's always a risk.
Yeah, definitely. There is, and well, good luck for the season, and hopefully there'll be an improvement for you.
I hope so, Mark. I hope so. I can't put up with another year of that, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I would have quite happily, as a West Ham fan, I would quite happily have swapped places with you. I mean, you thought your season was crap. I mean. But yeah, there you go. Maybe we'll have some fun next year in the championship without VAR ruining it every single week.
I'll be rooting for you lot. I've got a bit of a soft spot for you lot because of my cousin supports. I'll be a half West Ham supporter, keeping an eye on you.
Metropolitan Police will be on lockdown as well when you play Millwall.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, funny enough, I was watching a podcast this morning and to do with cricket, and there was a comment on there that said it'd be the only game in the history of football that kicks off at 7 o'clock in the morning, which I thought was quite good, to be fair, and I totally agree with. But as obviously as I mentioned earlier on in the episode, we're recording this on a Wednesday evening, so we are literally the day before the World Cup starts. Got to ask, I know it's a cliched question, but is this finally the year that football's coming home, or are we going to end up disappointed again?
I'm going to be honest, as a half Welshman, I actually do think England could win this. I really do. Yeah, I just think everyone going after Tuchel and watching that video of his team talk and the squad he's picked, I actually think he's done something quite clever, and I think they'll win it.
Yeah.
Okay, bold. Elijah, you sort of shook your head there. I think you've got a
No,
different opinion.
no chance. I think Tuchel's left too much creativity back at home, and I think that'll hold them back when they come up against anyone good like France. But to be honest, Mark, I'm going to be cheering on Spain. I'm really not bothered about England. I'd rather like Liverpool win the Carabao Cup than England win a World Cup. That's how bothered I am about it. And I've had 20 quid for Spain in the work sweepstakes, so I'll be trying to find an old Fernando Torres shirt, I reckon, to squeeze into if they start doing well.
Brilliant. Okay, so he's not going to happen then. That's it. Elijah and Alfie have spoken. Go and support Spain. Um, but look, on every This Is the Music Meets podcast, I do like to try and finish with a quick fire round. But as I always say, I'll leave that up to the guests to decide whether or not if they think this section is quick fire or not. But we're going to go nice and easy to start off with. Tea or coffee? What's your favourite?
Tea.
Neither. I'm not a hot drinks man. I have been starting to get into my iced coffee a bit recently, but if someone's like, shall we go for a drink? And they're referring to like, should we go to a coffee shop? I'd much rather go and have a pint, to be honest. So, but tea or coffee, not a fan, to be honest.
Are we Alfie? Are we Yorkshire tea? Is that your go-to?
Yeah, that is the go. So we've got a big box of it on top of the cupboard. So that's the refill. So yeah, a nice mug of Yorkshire tea with 2 sugars. That's how I like it.
Man, that's what I like to hear. We obviously mentioned earlier on about your upcoming headline shows. But have there been any sort of like in some of your other shows that you've done? Have there been any sort of like mishaps on stage or maybe during like sound check that you can share with us?
Guitar strap button things failing. So even though I put the strap on, like the strap thingy round it, not so it's not its own, still comes off. So I think some duct tape might be in order for the Telford's gig. What else have we had?
Can't think of any like complete clangers. I remember one when we played the Castle in Manchester,
Yeah.
I switched guitars and I wondered why it wasn't coming through, and I just didn't have it plugged in. And I was just stood there like, what on earth's going on? My guitar's broken. Or like, and then I looked down and the cable wasn't even in the guitar. I was just like, oh no.
Oh, brilliant. I love that. That's great. Yeah, don't do that on Saturday. I think it's fair to say. Obviously, we're sort of talking about people that you've met along the journey, you know, in terms of musicians. But if you could invite any other musician out for a beer, who are you inviting?
Oh, you can answer that first.
Noel Gallagher for me, definitely.
Nice. Yeah. Discuss songwriting.
Yeah, definitely. Probably have a bit of football banter as well, I reckon. But yeah, just chat about the 90s with him because, like, I think all the documentaries cover it well, but they don't know the whole story, and that's what I'd want to know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Alfie, how about you?
It's such a tough one. I mean, one off the top, there's probably way more that but I just can't remember them. But probably like Dave Grohl or something like that. Yeah, I know he's had a slight mishap recently, but I just won't bring that up. Go for a beer, talk to him about everything else. Yeah, he's one of the ones off the top of my head, but I need to rack my brain. It's a great question.
And if you had to play a set where you had to include a cover song, what are you going for?
Because we do have some good covers.
And like the penultimate one, say like you're playing Triple J, cover for radio. What is it?
I know we've not done it, but I really, really like Revelry by Kings of Leon.
Great
Nice
show.
choice.
Great show.
Yeah, I like that.
Mine, well, might probably be something from the Strokes.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear you sing "The Adults Are Talking" by the Strokes. I think that would be quite cool. Or have a go at like Reptilia or something like that. Bit of a I've had them on repeat a lot recently, so that's a Strokes cover would be the one that comes to mind.
Brilliant, brilliant. Love those choices, and yeah, different answers as well from what apart from the obvious stuff. So I quite like that personally. Obviously, what you've mentioned, you've got your headline show on Saturday, and then again, obviously the next one up in Manchester in September. But what are the plans? Outside of those headliners, what can we expect to see from Moving On across 2026?
I've got a couple of support slots across the country in the line at the minute. Hoping to get back down to the capital and then move a bit further north up into Sheffield as well. So, yeah, plenty lined up. A couple more studio sessions. Yeah, we'll have another release out probably around mid to late August, I reckon. So yeah, there's plenty coming. So
And Diva.
yeah, Diva Festival as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on, to be fair. And then yeah, look at certainly planning the first EP then for potentially late this year, early next year.
This is some exclusive news, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we love. We love to hear it.
Here first.
Because that's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Well, look, I love to hear that sort of stuff, and it does sound like you've got a very busy sort of end of, well, not even the end yet, but rest of 2026, and obviously going into 2027. It sounds like it's going to be a brilliant time for you, and yeah, really excited to hear those. The new music and stuff when it does eventually come out. But look, Alfie and Elijah, that does bring us to the end of episode 177 of the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Thank you both so much for coming on and sharing your story about moving on with the This Is the Music listeners. But before I let you go, can you just let them all know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, so on Instagram and TikTok, it's Moving On Official. And we've got a Facebook page, but I assume it's just Moving On. I don't think you can do much else with Facebook. Yeah, and then on Spotify as well, Moving On as well. Across all streaming platforms, it's Moving On. So yeah.
Brilliant, great stuff. Look, I'll put those links in the episode bio, so do please go and check them out. And also as well, put the link in definitely for the Manchester show in September. And I'll see when this episode comes out. Might be able to get a few extra sales for you for the gig this Saturday as well. Good luck with those headline shows. I'm sure you're going to absolutely smash it. Keep on doing what you're doing, because I'm a massive fan, I have to say. And looking forward to hearing what else you've got, coming, as I said earlier, 2026 and beyond.
Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Mate.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 178 of the This Is the Music Meets podcast with this week's guest, Moving On. If you are new around here, please subscribe, hit the like button and leave a comment, as it really will help the podcast grow, but more importantly, help the bands and artists that I interview to be discovered. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you very soon for another This Is the Music Meets podcast. And remember, the future is bright, the future is indie.